Welcome to Middlesex Moments from Middlesex Community College in Middletown. I'm Steve Minkler, the college CEO. Today's show is being produced together with students in the college's studio television production course. I'm really proud of the work they've done this semester. They've helped me produce 4 episodes of Middlesex Moments to bring to you over the last few months. They produced these live studio segments as well as going into the community for our news stories. Many thanks to everybody on the student crew and to their professor, Rich Lenosi. First up is our news segment called In the Loop, time for a few short stories highlighting some of the many great things happening at your community college. On April 29th, Middlesex Community College dedicated its Tree of Hope in memory of those who've lost their lives or have lost a loved one to the COVID pandemic. The Tree of Hope was donated by our own Dean of Administration, Kim Hogan.
The idea of the tree planting came about as part of our campus acknowledgement of the COVID-19 pandemic and to recognize those lives that have been impacted and those that have unfortunately lost their lives due to COVID-19. The idea of the tree is to be a rebirth, a way to look forward, and out of this pandemic we are going to call this tree the Tree of Hope, in that its white flowering in the spring will be a sign of better times to come. Well, one of the things that that has come up since we started this this process of having different trees on campus, from the Presidential Grove, we have several other trees that have been planted in honor of individuals that have already passed, and we have a 9/11 tree that was planted now 20 years ago. So in honor of those that lost their lives in that unfortunate time in our history. Our campus is completely open, especially the outside of all of our buildings are open 24/7. People can walk on campus, and at any given time you can see people walking through campus walking their dogs or just taking a hike or parking their cars and getting on the trails that are out back for mountain biking and other running. People are on campus around in our community all the time. Anything that they would like, they can have a seat, they can have picnic lunch, they can just walk and reflect. Anything that brings comfort, and that's our goal.
Thanks, Kim. On Saturday, May 15th at 9 a.m., the Middlesex Community College Foundation will hold its annual fundraising road race. The Grad Dash 5K and 10K supports the Foundation's scholarship program, which awards nearly $100,000 every year to students at the college. You can run or you can walk, which means that even I, as an unsuccessful athlete, can even participate. You can walk the course around the campus of the college and participate in Grad Dash. It'll be an outdoor COVID-friendly event, or you can also walk anytime from May 14th until the 17th and let us know how you do. Visit mxcc.edu/run to sign up today. Every year, the Center for New Media hosts a festival to celebrate our students' creativity and their accomplishments. To tell us more about the 17th Annual MxCC Arts and Media Festival, here's Digital Media Professor Rick Erickson.
This year's Arts and Media Festival, it's different in the fact that it is actually an online event. We're not doing an on-ground event this year. So Friday, May 21st at 6, the static will clear on our multiple platforms, and then we'll kick off a little online Arts and Media show. A brief history of the Arts and Media Festival. It didn't start out as the Arts and Media Festival. It started out as the Broadcast Communication Award. That had to have been 95, 96. It was like a jokey award show. It was super goofy. There was a silly video that was produced. We'd do the screenings, but we'd also do awards. We had little trophies. So it was like, mini Oscars. Because it's actually happening online, there's several different components. There's obviously the screenings, videos, and projects that are actually sequence and motion based. Then there's a whole rack of fine arts, static imagery, even digital imagery, audio. And so really there's kind of 2 parts. The fine arts material and all the fine art projects will actually be kind of in galleries within the website. The actual screening component, how we choose, we first and foremost are looking for obviously the highest quality. The things that represent all of the classes, and they really kind of push like, hey, this is some good stuff. But there's some other wacky things that go on in there as well. My favorite part of the Arts and Media Festival is when people get together, view creative media that's been produced. Check it out, hit our website or hit the Center for New Media website on May 21st, Friday, 6 o'clock. Click in.
Thanks, Rick. Middlesex Community College's 54th commencement will be a little different this year, thanks to ongoing COVID restrictions on public events like graduations. Instead of a traditional ceremony, MxCC will host a 4-day congratulatory cap and gown celebration from May 25th through 28th. The Middlesex Moments crew learned more about the college's plans and talked to students in the classes of 2020 and 2021.
Are just some of the most resilient, amazing students in this world.
With COVID, it doesn't really matter. I'm doing my thing. Getting through classes. It's a good experience here.
Originally, when I found out that our graduation was going to be online, I wasn't entirely happy at first, but that's just when COVID started happening and everybody was kind of just in the uncertainty of things at the time. At the same time, it would have been wonderful to walk on stage.
The plans were really to have an in-person commencement ceremony. And we wanted to do it in the safest way possible, being mindful that we are still actively in a pandemic.
The online graduation, I think it's okay. It doesn't really bother me, if we have to do it online to keep everyone safe. I would rather have graduation in person, so we could walk the stage, see all my friends graduate with me. I would prefer an outdoor celebration or whatever, but it's okay online.
We got to still wear our caps and gowns. They got sent to us in the mail, and for other people, I understand it's a big thing. For me, I just didn't mind it too much. All of us are pretty much going through the same thing right now, so it's kind of unfortunate at the same time, but I understand that it's a hard thing to process.
That it speaks to the sincerity and the care and the proud moment that Middlesex Community College has towards our graduates. I know it's not the one that you deserve, but we're going to make sure that you're celebrated as you deserve to be.
So graduates in the class of 2021, you'll have to sign up for a time to pick up your cap and gown between May 25th and 27th. Visit mxcc.edu/commencement to sign up and to see about the time for our virtual commencement ceremony on May 28th at 6 p.m. So now you're in the loop with what's happening here at your community college. Coming up after the break, more of Middlesex Moments from Middlesex Community College. So welcome back to Middlesex Moments from Middlesex Community College. I'm Steve Minkler, the college CEO. The Center for New Media at Middlesex offers innovative applied Associate of Science degrees in digital media production. The degree program has several concentrations such as film and video, multimedia, news and sports, corporate video, web design, digital marketing, and the audio and music technology program, which is what we're going to focus on today. And with me is Aaron Moynihan, who's one of the instructors in the music and audio production program. Thanks for joining me today, Aaron.
It's great to be here.
So tell us a little bit about your background.
So I'm 15, 16 years strong in the recording industry. I'm a studio guy. I've been working in studios since 2005. Long story short, the studio that I started at and partnered at, we ran into some financial challenges and changes circa 2012. A lot of our income at that at my previous business model was based off of youth-based programs we were running in the city. If anybody thinks back to those years of 2011, 2012, funding became a little bit difficult in certain areas in the state. That affected us in a way that I had to make a decision, and I chose to left that previous situation at that time. Kind of left me scrambling what to do next. One thing led to another. I met some good people in Boston who introduced me to some courses at Berkeley. A certificate program ended up turning into a bachelor's degree, ended up turning into a master's degree. And as I was going through that loop of career development, I met some more mentors who had long resumes in what I do as audio engineers. I looked up to these guys, specifically Peter Alhadef, Enrique Gonzalez, and Sean Slade. And I just really loved what they were doing at this point, that point in their careers with the teaching and how rewarding it was to them, and how they were able to have an impact on students and myself, and give back and impart knowledge they had learned over the years. And it's there that I found that I really wanted to jump into the realm of education moving forward, as well as continue to record and create music. So that's my background. That's what brought me here. After I graduated, I reached out to pretty much every music director in the state at the collegiate level. John Schaefer was one of the first to respond to me, came in, had a great talk with him, and a position developed from that initial meeting. So here I am.
And we're real glad to have you, because it is one of the newest concentrations we have in this program, and it's really exciting to watch it build. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today.
Absolutely.
So you've had teaching sort of in the background. Like you said, you taught youth programs, then went to Berkeley. And
Yes.
I mean, Berkeley is one of the premier music schools for performance and engineering and all.
Yes.
And I think one of the things you said is it really helps you to network with others. And how important is networking in a business like music production?
Networking is very important. It's absolutely everything. You have the technical side, you have God-given talent, and you have networking. They all play an equal role into where you end up career-wise, and ceilings, and how far you will go. Networking is everything. Make your network your net worth, and
You got it.
yeah, that's what it is.
Now, I think we take for granted, recorded music is all around us. You flip on your phone or your radio or whatever, and there's always music around us, but there's a lot of skills behind the scenes. And what are the kind of things you teach in the program here at Middlesex?
Absolutely. So, with the program, the length of ours, the goal is to give these students a good foundation moving forward. So we cover the foundations of solid, healthy recordings, the beginning foundations of building, dynamic mixes, and just the overall interpersonal dynamics of capturing emotional performances and running smooth sessions, and also remaining professionally afloat in our field. So we do a bunch of everything.
Sure. Now, are you yourself a musician? Do you play any instruments or sing?
I am not. I wouldn't call myself a musician. I do have a background in piano, in music theory, but the majority of my work goes into the technical side of mixing and recording.
Right. I mean, you got to have a sense for music in order to know how to record it and to help others with their craft.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What kind of jobs are available in a field like this? A student comes to Middlesex, maybe graduates from us, or maybe gets their bachelor's and master's like you. What kind of jobs can they find?
Right. There's a lot of lanes you can take. There is you can take an entrepreneurial lane and go into business for yourself as an audio engineer, producer, singer-songwriter. You can get into the world of sync, which is syncing up music with all sorts of visual media, whether it be commercials, movies, television shows. We have post-edit in Hollywood, which is a lot of money. We have sound design and video games. I can go on and on. There's a lot of back-end admin positions on the music business side of things, a lot of promotional positions, the live side of things.
Right.
We have live audio, we have promotions, bookings, tour managers, et cetera, et cetera.
That's
So
huge.
it's a pretty wide umbrella if you know which lane you want to jump into and arm yourself with the proper background and experience to do so.
Absolutely. So it seems like we're starting to get toward the end of this COVID pandemic and things returning a little bit to normal. How big of an issue was COVID in live performance and studio production? It's got to have been huge.
It was massive. I want to say my first semester teaching here, my first semester as a professor was split by the onset of the pandemic. So that was interesting as well, and definitely a challenge. So if we go back to March when everything hit, I had a commercial space which I shut down come March, by the end of March, I didn't know when we would open back up. I took the opportunity to rebuild a personal space. Took me a couple months, and for me personally, ended up in a better space than I was before by the graces. Definitely shattered the industry. It paused all live, everything that was moving live, which is a huge part of what we do. And a lot of studios did not survive, but we pushed through as best as we can. Work slowed. Things are speeding back up now. It's definitely looking good for the fall for live shows. There are a lot of festivals being planned right now in state and nationwide, and getting the green light to go. Live outdoor shows are a go through the summer. I have a lot of guys I work with, younger blues rocks musicians. They're getting their gigs back. It's looking like a good summer and a potentially even better fall.
Sounds great. And we're glad to have students back on campus too.
Absolutely.
So we're going to meet a few of Aaron's students in the rest of the show, and I want to thank Aaron Moynihan for joining us, a faculty member in our audio and music production program here at the college. And when we come back after this short break, we'll meet some of Aaron's students and learn more about the program from them. You're watching Middlesex Moments from Middlesex Community College.
I really had no idea of what I wanted to do, so I worked a lot of minimum wage jobs. And finally, I was just like, I just need to go back to school because I wanted to get a business degree. And Middlesex Community College was super convenient. I got a lot out of Middlesex. I never thought I would have reached this far with my associate's degree. It allowed me to buy a house. I was able to get married. It was a dream.
Welcome back to Middlesex Moments from Middlesex Community College. I'm Steve Minkler, and today's show we're focusing on our audio and music technology program and learning about how students produce audio and music. And with me now is Clancy Susi, who's a student in this program. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
All right, thanks for joining me.
Absolutely.
This looks like some really complicated stuff. What are we looking at here?
So this is a Avid C24 board. This is basically just a controller of what you see on the computer. So although it looks very complicated, it's not all that complicated. It's these faders which control the levels of the volume that's coming in. And then these top ones are the pots which control the input levels of microphones. So those are really the only things that we touch besides just play and record.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So a lot of hardware you got to manipulate and the software that makes it all happen here, right?
Yes, yep.
So a little later we're going to hear some performances from some of the fellow students in the class, and I know one of them, Christy, is going to be singing along with pre-recorded music.
Yeah.
How does that kind of stuff work?
So we already have her instruments and everything in here that she actually produced herself. Okay. So then we just have her vocal track up with a vocal chain going, and I will, once I'm cued to go, I'll just hit play, and then she'll hear it through her headset, and that'll play in through here, which is then playing into the studio.
Nice. Now, how did you first get interested in this?
So I've always liked music. I've never been played instruments or anything. But I was at my old school, just not really going down a path that I wanted to regarding my education. One of my friends who is a musician and involved in the digital world and stuff, he showed me the school and said they have an audio program there. I think you'd be interested in it. And sure enough, this is my second semester, and I love it. Every day I come in here, yeah.
Nice. And real quick, what's next for you after this?
I'm going to be attending Berkeley College of Music, their online school. So thanks to Aaron, he's kind of helped me a lot get down to this path. So I'll be doing that in the fall.
Okay, awesome. Well, we look forward to hearing the results of what you're doing in here after we talk a little bit more and after we return to Middlesex Moments, because I think it's time for another short break.
Awesome.
So you're watching Middlesex Moments from Middlesex Community College.
I chose Middlesex because they had a lot of different programs that I was interested in. For me, it was just easier to come here part-time and also keep my job. Middlesex, I would say, helped me get my foot in the door in the news business. The Center for New Media has all the stuff that I see daily at News 8. To be able to jump on and say, I have experience with a control room, I have experience with a TV studio, it's definitely a good choice.
Welcome back to Middlesex Moments from Middlesex Community College. I'm Steve Minkler, the college CEO. And today we're focusing on the audio and music production program at Middlesex. And with me now is Christy Colello, who's a student in that program. How are you, Christy?
I'm good. How are you?
Thanks. Tell us a little more about how you first got interested in music and performance.
Yeah, so it's always been in my blood, and I've always just been like a loud little kid, so I always loved sound, things like that. And when I was in the 4th grade, I decided to try the flute, and I still play it today. And I'm self-taught in 5 other instruments, and I also sing as well. So.
Wow, 5 other instruments. What
Yes.
are those?
Flute, guitar, drums, ukulele, piano, and bass.
Wow, all very different instruments,
Yeah,
right?
very different.
Now, do you write your own music, and when did you start doing that kind of stuff?
I do write my own music, and I have some out already. I started writing my freshman year of high school, like really seriously, and just kept going from there.
Okay. So when you were growing up and first getting interested in music, how did you perform? Where would you perform?
Anything I could get my hands on. I started in elementary school bands, things like that, and I kind of realized like band music was not what I wanted. Like I wanted to hit like, how are people doing this on the radio? And nobody could really answer that question for me until I got to high school and starting to see like, well, things like recording studios and whatever. So that was, I branched out and it just kind of flew from there. And I got to Middlesex, and this program opened my eyes to all different opportunities. So now I'm comfortable and want to like keep this path going.
All right, that's great. Where do you see this path taking you in a few years from now?
Oh man. Wherever, honestly. My plan after Middlesex is to go to WCSU and double major in computer information technology and music and audio. And I hope to either do gaming soundtracks or something like that, programming different music softwares to kind of combine in both programs. So.
That's great. Yeah, talking to Aaron before, it's like you just kind of take for granted there's sound and there's music everywhere,
yeah.
and someone's got to do this work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so invisible to us.
Yeah. Now, what do you like most about sort of the production elements? I mean, 'cause since you're a performer, but you also have to learn sort of the behind-the-scenes technology, too.
Yes. I always compare it to being like magic. I feel like because nobody knows what goes into it and you want to make those cool sounds, or like how do people make samples, or how do you make your voice sound like that? Knowing those techniques makes me feel like I can evoke different emotion from people. That's my favorite part.
That's great. Well, we're going to take a short break, and afterwards we're going to hear some of that magic happen today. Christy's going to perform for us after this short break. You're watching Middlesex Moments from Middlesex Community College.
My classes at Middlesex Community College have been mostly online, though partially on campus. I've really enjoyed them. The teachers have been very accommodating to students. It's a safe place, it's a safe environment. They're making sure that everyone's wearing masks. It's been really nice to have the online experience as well as the on-ground experience. And chase your dreams, don't let the pandemic stop you from wanting to do what you want to do, whether it be filmmaking or anything else.
Action.
I was homeschooled, and after doing a lot of research, I found MxCC, and it looked like a really good fit for me because I wanted to transfer to UConn, and they have the Pathways program. Being homeschooled, it was nice to have smaller classes. The professors really helped me understand the material. I really felt that Middlesex was invested in my education. It's one of the greatest experiences I've had.
Welcome back to Middlesex Moments from Middlesex Community College. I'm Steve Minkler. Today we're focusing on the Audio and Music Technology and Production program, and we're going to start putting some things together for you. So first we met Aaron Moynihan, who's a teacher in this program, and he himself has a long professional background, both in teaching music and production. We talked to Clancy Susi, who's a student in the program, who he introduced us to the music mixing board, and he's going to be behind the scenes while we now listen to vocalist Colello, who will be performing her original piece, Reflections.
See my doctor next week, see my doctor next week. I haven't seen him in months, you know that co-pays ain't cheap. I've been seeing you again inside the mirrors broken on the walls. Diagnose me with the reason I'm still seeing faces I don't want. If it's in my head, then where is my reflection? Give me my reflection, give me my. If it's in my head, then where is my reflection? Give me my reflection, give me my. Give me my reflection, give me my. If it's in my head, then where is my. Give me my reflection, give me my. If it's in my head, then where is my. My credit card and my keys. I checked my purse and my jeans. I think I'm losing my head. It's rolling right down the street. There's no reason to keep me close to you, but you're breathing the same way that I do. If it's in my head, then where is my reflection? Give me my reflection, give me my. If it's in my head, then where is my reflection? Give me my reflection, give me my. If it's in my head, then where is it? Give me my reflection, give me my. If it's in my head, then where is it? I've been running through YouTube, trying to find video proof I can lose you. It ain't too great, so lo-fi and a cool tube, upright till we trip and I don't feel you. Do it all again the next day. If it's in my head, then where's my reflection? Give me my reflection, give me my. If it's in my head, then where is my reflection? Give me my reflection, give me my. Give me my reflection, give me my. If it's in my head, then where is my reflection? Give me my reflection, give me my. If it's in my head, then where is my reflection?
Christy Colello and her original piece, Reflection. After this short break, more of Middlesex Moments from Middlesex Community College.
So the reason I chose the Middlesex Veterinary Technology program was because of all the opportunities it had with Piper Olson Veterinary. There's no other place where you would have access to that. I would definitely recommend Middlesex to anybody who's interested in that career because you're going to be 100% prepared to start your job. That is really empowering.
Starting back in high school, was not the best student, and so I decided that Middlesex was the best option for me. You have a lot of support here. I had professors that cared about me, that pushed me in ways. I went to Middlesex Community College and transferred to Wesleyan University with a full scholarship, and it's all because I did well at Middlesex.
really had no idea of what I wanted to do, so I worked a lot of minimum wage jobs. And finally, I was just like, I just need to go back to school because I wanted to get a business degree. And Middlesex Community College was super convenient. I got a lot out of Middlesex. I never thought I would have reached this far with my associate's degree. It allowed me to buy a house. I was able to get married. It was a dream.
Welcome back to Middlesex Moments from Middlesex Community College. I'm Steve Minkler. Today we're focusing on our audio and music production program. And now it's my pleasure to turn it over to student John Leavenworth, who will be performing two original pieces, Meadowlark and Sunshine. So I really would like to thank John Leavenworth, Christy Colello, our two student performers, and our audio technician Clancy Susi, and instructor Aaron Moynihan, all of them from the audio and music production program here at Middlesex Community College. I want to thank all of these amazing students in the studio television production course for a great semester. It was so great to have both courses together for today's show. Thanks to our media partner WLIS, WMRD, and many thanks to you, our listeners and viewers, for joining us for another edition of Middlesex Moments. As always, you're welcome to visit us in person. Please wear a face mask if you do. You can find us at our main campus at 100 Training Hill Road in Middletown. And of course, you can visit us online at MxCC.edu. For everybody at Middlesex Community College, I'm Steve Minkler, and we'll see you again next week.